up, everybody? We are back with another video today. Now, before we start this video, first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for all the support you guys have given me. We are at 1,000+ subs, but also I want to give a special thanks to everyone that apparently liked this video that got it up to 5,000 views. It was a quick time-lapse video that I did a while ago for like YouTube Reels. It was just titled like manga setup page or manga practice page. No dialogue, no commentary, just a simple time lapse of a manga page I was working on at the time for Chikara, just as practice. But apparently people loved it, so I had decided to actually make more of an in-depth video on manga page setups and practice and what you guys can do to get better at page layout and obviously just basic stuff like that. So if you guys have checked out my How to Be a Manga Artist group of videos, the series that I'm doing, you have noticed the last video was about panels. So this video can actually bounce off of that one to give you guys just a little bit more meat, a little bit more just sustenance for what you guys desire so much, which is, you know, wanting to be a manga artist. And hopefully I can give you more information on how to be a manga artist in these other videos that I do, as well as the main series. For me, from just my experience in general when coming up with panels and coming up with ideas for panels and layouts, like how do I want things to move, how do I want things to flow in terms of when of course drawing, but also story wise, because panel layout is the same for everything, but it's also different depending on what genre you do. Because paneling, for example, like Attack on Titan, is going to be a little different from paneling from My Hero. And what I mean is in terms of how the panels are laid out, how it's structured, how it flows, how it moves, what's going on in the panels, of course, because those are two totally different genres of shows and series, but in the end, you're still working with the similar, you know, object, which is the panel itself. So the first thing I would say, if you are struggling with panels and in either making them, obviously I've talked about that on the series, so if you want to learn how to make them in Clip Studio, definitely go watch that video. But if you are struggling more of panel placement and also just of what do I put in these panels to convey what I want, it's very hard, because people think that, oh, I can just, you know, slap down a couple of boxes, draw a couple of things in them, and, you know, I'm good to go. But it's definitely a lot more to that, because in some cases, you don't want every single panel to have a lot of detail, because, for example, like what I'm working on the screen, there are several smaller panels and then one longer kind of larger panel. So obviously the larger panel, I want it to be more of the focal point. And it's hard to, I guess, describe that, because some people are just like, focal point, what are you talking about? Like, normally you talk about focal points in perspective and just the drawing itself, but you have to look at panels as a form of art itself as well, because if I added a lot of detail to all of the several panels plus the big one, your eye isn't going to know what to track to first. And that should be kind of how you look at panels, because you obviously you want to look at least for manga, you want to look at it as a term of this is like a storyboard style of animation, but obviously highly detailed as well. So for the example on the screen, those several smaller panels are supposed to be kind of like quick cuts, like, you know, boom, top left DS says something, then Ojitsuna, then Ross, and then, you know, Kurisu says something in the bottom panel, and then maybe like a call to action in the top right, like a oh my gosh type of thing. And then the emphasis is on Kurisu's face in the larger panel, because what he's saying there has the most importance on this page. So you kind of want to start structuring your panels in that way, just moving forward. You want to kind of look at your page as you're making your panels and kind of think to yourself, okay, what panel in this group of panels, or even multiple ones, it doesn't have to just be one, it can be two, or if you're doing a two-page spread, it can be like, you know, the one really big one. But it's like, which panel out of all of these do I want to be the focal point that really gets the reader kind of like, okay, this is the most important thing taken away from this page. I'm not saying it has to be the most important thing in the entire story happening on that page, but if there's a conversation happening on that page, what character is going to end on that page having the final thought that was the most important out of what's going on. Because what you don't want is, you don't want to just keep making pages and panels with not a lot happening or too much happening to where the audience gets bored and it's kind of like, oh man, like I wish this would just wrap up. Each page should have a direct call to action and a direct call to panel. That way you can actually see, okay, this page was important because of what he said here, or what she said here, or what happened here. And then the next page is the same thing. This page is now important because it transitions or bounces off of the other one, therefore this panel is more important. So I hope you guys are kind of understanding what I mean here when I'm talking about panels and stuff, because it can be overlooked, because you know, most of you guys, you love drawing. You want to draw the characters, you want to draw the fight scenes, you want to write the story, and some people are like a writer, so for you it's writing the story and getting the story done, but it's overlooked that panels and positioning of panels and how you make them can be, it's just as important. Because if, like I said, if you have a lot of great detailed art in every single panel, no one's gonna really know what panel is the most important, and their eyes are gonna go everywhere. They're not even gonna know which one to kind of take away from. You want people to take away from some panel, whether that's a specific character or a specific event. So a couple of series that I grew up obviously reading just as a consumer, but also when I was getting into manga to study paneling was, and it's actually, like I said, it's different for everybody because you all have different genres that you enjoy reading and you're imitating and trying to create. But for me, the best way that I learned how to panel was from Naruto, Blue Exorcist, and actually Tokyo Ghoul, which is not what I talk about a lot, because when I talk about the main manga that gave me inspiration for art, it's Naruto, My Hero, and Attack on Titan, and Haikyuu. So when it comes to paneling, I don't know, I just really liked how Tokyo Ghoul, Blue Exorcist, and Naruto, they all had their own style of paneling and how things moved. But Naruto being one of the OGs, it was kind of like, you know, the basics, the fundamentals. Learn how to panel, learn how Kishimoto kind of does his fight scenes and paneling, even just for dialogue. And that's kind of what I modeled my stuff after. Now, getting older and getting better with my art, moving into book 3, I did a lot of 2-page spreads, and I started getting more comfortable kind of breaking the boundaries on some things and kind of leaving cliffhanger type things on other pages, so that way the next couple of pages would be like different. So I started to kind of brainstorm and just experiment a little bit more now. But definitely for book 2 and book 1, which is really chapters 1 through 6, it was definitely more of a cookie cutter, you know, paneling, like get the bare bones paneling, just nothing crazy, nothing going off the page, just very basic comic type paneling stuff, more so built into Clip Studio rather than making my own. Now, that's not saying that you can't use Clip Studio's assets for paneling. I use them all the time, but don't get comfortable on just using just the basic, just drag and drop, I'm going to use this. You know, start getting more comfortable trying to tweak things, like, you know, maybe cut a couple of panels, maybe move some things around, really make the page your own and make it to what you want it to be for your story. Don't just, like I said, drag and drop the panel and be like, oh, I guess this will do, I'll mold my story according to what these panels look like. No, never do that. If you have an idea in your head for how your panels should look, or inspiration, or even you're trying to imitate a page from your favorite manga on how they do panels, by all means chop it up, because there's no copyright laws on panels. You can't, you know, you can't, no one can look at your page and be like, oh my gosh, you copied this paneling and box style from Tokyo Revengers. No one's gonna look at that. They're gonna look obviously at your art and your story. Now, if you copy the art and poses from that, that's definitely copyright. Don't ever do that, guys. Definitely make your own stuff. Now, a little bit more advice just that I can give you guys in terms of paneling, aside from, you know, creating your own and being spontaneous and trying to get creative with your paneling, there are some times where panels need to be very, very simple. Because especially if you're having a long dialogue scene, a lot of information, you don't want to go too crazy with the panels, because just like in drawing the actual manga, if you're drawing characters in action poses but they're talking about, you know, what are we going to eat for dinner, it's going to throw the reader off. So same thing with panels. If you're drawing a very detailed conversation, maybe stick to some similar box or simple box styles. You don't want to draw anything too crazy, you know, because it'll throw the reader off. They'll be like, you know, why are these panels all off the thing and all chopped up when they're literally just talking about, you know, basic stuff like ramen or I don't know, like getting a hamburger or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, just take your time, get inspiration, and hopefully make your panels or adjust your panels to what's actually going on in your story. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope my information could give you some advice, kind of help you out with your paneling. Like I said, if you want more of an in-depth kind of crash course on how to make panels in Clip Studio, definitely go over to my How to Be a Manga Artist series, where I talk about that. The title is called Paneling or Panels, and I go in full detail on how to make panels in Clip Studio and, you know, how to chop them up, you know, what to look out for, and how to make things look really, really good and really, really crisp. So go check that out if you want more of a detailed experience for paneling. But this video was kind of just more of more information. We're just chilling talking about some stuff, some tips. So hopefully it gives you guys some insight, some clarity, and more inspiration to keep doing, you know, what we're trying to do out here, which is make manga and make comic books. So with that being said, guys, please share this video. Please share multiple of my videos. If you want to share them out to your friends and stuff that are making manga, definitely go do that. I appreciate, like I said, all the support. Let's get this video, you know, up to 5K just like the other one. You know, that's my goal, is to get this video a lot of views, because you guys really seem to like the last one that I did. And here's the final page for Chikara. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but keep a lookout for this. And other than that, guys, I will catch you guys for the next video. Stay drawing, stay creative, and always have fun. Peace.